Is your Notion workspace starting to feel more like a cluttered mess than an organized tool? Ew. What if I told you that simplifying it could actually skyrocket your productivity? And, not to brag, you can do it in 15 minutes. In this video, I'll show you why a cluttered workspace could be killing your focus and your productivity, backed by science. How I took this chaotic Notion dashboard and transformed it into a super simple functional system. And how you can do it in 15 minutes. Here's why this matters. If you don't streamline your workspace, all that clutter is draining your brain's ability to focus. Your brain likes a clean workspace. It actually reduces stress. And you can trust this source because it's written by a company that cleans office desks, so it's probably not biased. But to put it scientifically, having multiple visual stimuli present within range of one's view will result in those stimuli competing for neural representation. My god, that sounds confusing. But basically, most people just think of this as your desk. But it's the same with your Notion workspace. Back in the old age, you can ask your parents, people used physical documents and like physical sticky notes, stuff like that. I know it's hard to believe, but apparently they did that. But now we all have minimalist desks because we've watched Matt D'Avila's videos, but we've put all of that clutter into our Notion dashboard and we think it's fine, but it's not. Everything in your Notion dashboard is competing for neural representation. Now, let's say you get distracted by something here. It's going to take 20 minutes to regain focus after a distraction. So every time you get distracted, it costs you 20 minutes. So what we're going to do is clean up this dashboard here. So the first obvious stuff we're going to do is delete this clock here. Do you know why? You have a clock in front of you. You're either on your phone or you're on your computer. We're going to delete images like this. I know it's fun and it looks nice or whatever, but it's taking up your brain's space. And it's the same thing with quotes like this. You don't need quotes on here. Just get rid of them. Everything that you have in your Notion dashboard here is just using up your brain's energy. When you're scrolling here, everything is fighting for your brain's attention. Now, the next thing we're going to do is fix this calendar. This calendar here, this is a very basic way to use Notion Calendar. It's not very effective, so I want to help you and make it more effective. So what we're going to do here is /calendar and then click calendar view. Now what we're going to do is create a database, and here I will just call this calendar. That's very creative. If you want, you can actually use the same name as me. Now what we're going to do is click on the 3 dots here, and we're going to click on layout. And instead of having the full month, because that's a lot of information, instead we're just going to show the calendar as week. So that is going to be a lot easier to digest for now. Now, all of this stuff here, we are just going to move it in here. Because Notion is really cool and smart, basically if you drag groceries here, look at that, it turns it into a page. So if you're new to Notion Calendar, it's not as scary as it sounds. This here is like using a Word document. You're just creating like text lines. This here, these are actually database entries, and a calendar is just a different database view. So we can see databases as calendars, timelines, boards, tables, lists, galleries, and charts. And it might sound confusing, but this is where you're going to get the best bang for your buck in terms of your productivity. So what you're going to do now is just drag all of these onto your calendar. All right, now we have a mixture of stuff. We have marketing, class 2, class 3, projects here, we have notes, we have your to-do list divided by personal, work, side hustles, we have daily habits, we have your goals, a book list, and a journal. Now, all of this here needs organizing. So what we're going to do here is just click plus here and create some space underneath this. The first thing I want to tackle is the to-do list. You're going to want a to-do list. Now you can do this in 2 ways. You can either do a database /data, which I recommend because it's a lot more effective and you can just do more with it. Or if you really don't want to do that, you can simply do a list like this, just task 1, task 2, and then you can simply drag these in like we were doing before. The problem with doing that is you can't select any properties in these here. That's the only issue. Now, I'm going to presume if you're watching this, you're pretty new to Notion and using databases sounds a bit annoying. If you do want to learn more about databases, I have a link in the description that goes through how to use filter, sort, and groups, which will be really helpful if you want to learn that. So what you can do here is say work tasks, click on the 6 dots, turn into, let's do a header 2, and then I'll do /div to do a divider. Now what I'm going to do is simply copy this and paste it. And now I will drag this until I see a blue line here. And then I will move this stuff to be in line here as well. So I'll do this a few times now. So I have 3 different columns here. So we'll have work tasks, personal tasks, and side hustle, or if you don't have a side hustle, whatever personal project that you're working on. By the way, if you're finding this stuff confusing and you just want an all-in-one solution, then check out Headquarters. Link is in the description. It's my all-in-one template for productivity. If not, let's carry on with the tutorial. Here you can write your different tasks. Now these here won't have properties, it will just be a simple list like this, but this here can be a lot less overwhelming. Alright, so we can delete this to-do list here. Now what we're going to do is create a gallery for our projects. So this is a type of database, but it won't be as confusing as task databases. So you'll do /gallery and click gallery view, and here we're going to do a new gallery. And this here will be your projects. Now in here, as you create this, you'll get 3 random pages. You can just delete these like that. So now what you're going to do is click on new and create your project. So I'll just call this project 1. If you have your projects as pages like I do here, then I will simply drag and drop these in here like that. And then I'll do the same thing for the classes up here. So I'll drag that, put that in there. All right, these projects are quite large, which is kind of unnecessary. So I'll click on the 3 dots here and we will click on layout. And here we can see the card size is medium and we'll just change it to small. Now we're going to add 1 property to these just so we don't have to see the projects that we've completed. So I'll click on project 1 here and by default you'll have this tags property. What I'll do though is just delete this property and I'll delete this created as well because we don't need that. So I'll click on the plus and there's a few different ways we could do this. We could either do it as a select, we could do a multi-select, we could do a status, we could do a date. There's a ton of ways to do this. We're going to keep this very simple. We'll just do a checkbox property and it's complete. So I'll write complete and then just to show you, I will check in this project 1 here. So what we're going to do now is add a filter to this gallery view. I'll right click here on gallery view and we're just going to change this to uncompleted. And I can change the icon here as well. So I'll just do a circle and I'll click on this icon here, which means to add a filter, and I'll make the filter where complete is unchecked. So now you can see project 1 got removed. Now the next thing I'm going to do is right click on uncompleted and duplicate. When I do that, I'm not actually duplicating the projects, I'm duplicating the view. So it's the same information, I'm just seeing it another time. So marketing, for example, hasn't been duplicated. This view has, if that makes sense. So now what I'm going to do here is call this completed. And I'll change this icon here to this icon. And now I'm going to change the filter here on this tab to where complete is checked. So now I have uncompleted with everything that I haven't done and completed all the projects that I have finished. Amazing. We have our project, we have our task list, and we have our calendar with the tasks that we're doing that day. All right, now we have a few issues here. We have the daily tasks and we have daily habits, which some people separate and I don't understand. We have goals and book list. First off, we're going to make book list very simple. We will just make that a project. Yes, I do recommend that being in a Workspace's database, but now we're just getting too confusing for now, so I'm just going to drag these books into the book list there. By the way, as you can see here, I can see what's inside this actual page here, so I can see the Atomic Habits, Feel Good Productivity, and Subtle Art in here. So this stuff here in this page, I can see that before it is clicked on. The reason nothing's showing up in these is because I don't have anything in here. So if I just write blah blah, and click away, as you can see, I can now see blah blah for class 2. If you don't want to be able to see what is inside these pages, what you can do is change that setting by clicking on the 3 dots, clicking on layout, and here we have card preview. So these here are cards / pages / items. It has a few words. We can change that preview here to page cover if we want, or we can even do none. So if it's none, it looks like this, where we don't have any image. Or if you have page cover, you can literally upload your own image. So to do that, if I just click on one of these pages and then hover over the text, you can see here add cover. Now it will just add a random image by default, but we can click on change cover here. And here we can change it to just the default gallery. You can upload your own image. You can link to an image online, or you can search on Unsplash. So if I just search for marketing and then click on this generic image, now if I click away, I can see marketing here with this image. And if you slightly do care about aesthetics, of course what you could do is change these images here, change it to something like pink sky. So now it looks slightly more aesthetic as well, which is quite nice. All right, now your daily habits and your daily task list. There are a few different ways of doing this. What you could do is set up reoccurring tasks. They can get slightly confusing, and I have a separate tutorial on that linked in the description if you want to do it that way. We're going to do it the lazy man's way. So what I'm going to do up here is /button, and I'll click there. this will be daily task list. Now what I'm going to say, when this button is clicked, so when I click on daily task list, then what I want to happen is add action, and I want it to insert blocks. So now the rule is when I click this button, then it's going to insert blocks. So now I want to drag these blocks here into here. So now it's going to create these blocks for me. And what I'll do is scroll down and do the same thing with these two, because these are just tasks that we do every single day. So I'll drag them there as well. So now I have walk dog, take vitamins, morning stretch, drink 6 glasses of water, and meditate 30 minutes. And then I will click on done. So I can delete this daily task list thing here. And if I scroll down, I can delete this daily habits here. Scroll back up. Now what I can do is simply click on daily task list, and it will automatically paste all of these items that we put in there. So now what I can simply do is drag these and drop them in there. So now I have these items here in my task list, because those items are just tasks that you have to do that day. Then we have our goals. I do not believe in goals. I've talked about this a bit on my channel. Goals are just projects. Run a marathon. That's not a goal. That's just a project. So I will simply just drag that in here. Get a dream job. That's not a goal. That is a project. So I'll just drag that in here as well. You don't want goals, you want projects, because projects have very clear task lists that you're going to do. In order to get your dream job, it's not just a random goal. You have very clear steps that you need to do in order to get this. And then those tasks will work towards finishing off this project so you can complete it. That is how goals work. I talk quite a bit about goals in my course, Productive with Notion. Link is in the description if you're interested. It's all about how to use Notion to genuinely be productive and not fake productivity, which is what most people are actually doing with their time. Now, lastly, we have your notes and we have your journal. Your journal is quite simple. What we're going to do instead is journal in your calendar. Journaling is just a task. I'll click on the plus and write journal. And here I can journal. Today I feel good because my Notion dashboard is now productive. So I've journaled in my actual task list here. So I'll just delete these because there's nothing actually in them, but of course you can archive them and put them somewhere else. All right, the last thing we want to do here is fix up our calendar because I don't know which tasks I've completed. Now there's 2 ways of doing this. Option A is if you find properties and all of this stuff a bit confusing, what you can do is simply change the icon here to a check emoji. So now you can see here, oh look, I've completed it. This is a very easy way to do it. We're just working with emojis. The second way to do it is to use a checkbox property. So I'll just delete this, and I'll delete this tags as well, delete that. And then I'll click on the plus, and we are going to do a checkbox, and it will just be, is it done? So I'll say I've taken my vitamins, I will check that in. Now what I want to be able to do is, without clicking on these individual items, like take vitamins, to see if it's been checked in, I can click on these 3 dots here, click on properties, and here I'm going to say I want to be able to see the checkbox property without having to click on it. So now I can see this checkbox here. Now, obviously it gets a bit annoying seeing the word done everywhere. So we can fix that by clicking here and just renaming it and just calling it a spacebar. And it's that simple. Now when you click away, the word done has been removed here. So now you can see if you've completed the task by either using the emoji or the checkbox. Now, if you do use the checkbox property, what you can do here is right click on the calendar and do duplicate. Here we can say your uncompleted tasks. And we're going to add a filter just like we did with the project. And this filter here will be where the checkbox is unchecked. So now if I tick off an item like journal, it gets removed from this page here. Now we're not deleting it, we're just hiding it in this view. We can still see it in the calendar here, as you can see. So the calendar view is absolutely every single task, whether we've completed it or not. And under our uncompleted view, we can see all of the tasks that we haven't completed yet. Now, I used to struggle with having way too much on my calendar here. Now, this is actually pretty achievable, but let's just add task here. And I'm just going to duplicate this a bunch of times. If you have way too much on your task list for the day, this is a massive issue. And it's the other way we're going to simplify your Notion dashboard. If your calendar is jam-packed because you think more work equals more productivity, then you are not as productive as you think you are. A 2023 study from 4-Day Week Global found that company revenue rose by 1.4% by cutting to a 4-day work week. Less time was spent working and they made more revenue. So if your calendar looks like this, then delete the stuff that you know is a waste of time. You don't want to just spend your time randomly working for the sake of it. Now we have a simplified Notion dashboard that is proven to work with science. We have your calendar here so you know what you're doing every single day and you can easily tick off the items that you've completed. We have a very easy task list here where you can add tasks under these different columns here, so you know all the tasks that you have to schedule out into your calendar. You can see all of your different projects here that you're working on. And lastly, we have your notes. If you want to know how to fix your notes, then click on this video here. Or if you want an all-in-one solution, then click on this video here to my headquarters Notion template. It is the ultimate template for productivity with everything set up that you need. Click on this video here. Thank you so much for watching.